Nifty is down, the market looks volatile. You open your portfolio and it's red. Most of the market is, but somewhere in the same market there are stocks sitting close to their all-time highs. That's not a coincidence. When a stock holds strong, while everything around it is falling, there's always a reason and a structural reason. So we went through each of these, their business, their numbers, risks, everything. And we bring to you 10 such stocks standing strong in a falling market. We are going from number 10 all the way to number 1. And number 1 is my personal favorite, so make sure you stay till the end. Let's go. Stock number 10 on our list is Power Grid Corporation of India or PGCIL. Now think about this for a second. When the market is falling, people may stop buying phones, they may delay their vacations. But do they switch off electricity? No, they don't. That's the foundation of why this company stays strong. The power grid doesn't produce electricity, it moves it. It runs the massive network of transmission lines that carry power from where it's generated to where it's needed. Your home, your office, a factory. It's basically the highway system for electricity across India. The stock is trading around 296 rupees, which is close to its 52-week high of 322 rupees. Revenue is growing at around 10% year on year, and the PE is in the 17 to 18 range, which is reasonably priced for what you're getting. Now here's where it gets really interesting as an investor. Power Grid operates over 1.8 lakh circuit kilometers of transmission lines. It runs the world's largest 765 kilovolt transmission network, and it handles about 84% of India's entire interregional power flow. That's not a business you can just replace overnight. And as India adds more renewable energy, that is solar or wind, all of that power still needs to travel through these lines to reach people. So the network only becomes more essential, not less. On top of that, the company has close to 82,000 crore of planned capital expenditure already lined up. That's future revenue with clear visibility. But yes, there are risks too. Execution risk. If projects get delayed, and in infrastructure they often do, future earnings can take a hit. But the roots here are deep, steady cash flows, essential infrastructure, and a growing pipeline. Now let's move on to stock number 9 on our list, GE Shipping Company. Here's a simple question. When the world needs oil, how does it travel? Ships, and that too big ones. GE Shipping operates large vessels that carry crude oil, petroleum, and bulk cargo across the world. When essential goods need to move across oceans, these ships do it. And that's how the company earns. The stock is trading around 1400 rupees, which is close to its 52-week high of 1509 rupees. Operating margins are strong. They are in the 50 to 60% range. And the balance sheet is rock solid with a debt to equity ratio of just 0.08. Now, what makes this company really interesting for investors is two things: supply and discipline. On the supply side, globally, ships take years to build and billions to fund. The GE shipping fleet itself has an average age of 14 to 16 years, which means replacement takes time and serious investment. So while demand for moving oil continues, supply stays tight, and that keeps pricing power strong. Now on the discipline side, rather than expanding aggressively at the peak of the cycle, GE Shipping has done something rare. It went from having net debt to having over $500 million in net cash. Let that sink in. $500 million in cash. Recently, tanker markets have stayed strong, freight rates are holding, and the company is paying consistent dividends, all while sitting on that cash cushion. But yes, there are risks. The offshore segment of their business is exposed to falling charter rates, which can hurt profitability. Okay, moving on to the next one, stock number 8 on our list, which is Coal India. Simple business, simple story, powerful position. Coal India produces coal and supplies it to power plants across the country. And those power plants run a massive portion of India's electricity. It fuels the electricity that keeps homes, industries, and cities running every day. The stock is trading at around 450 rupees, close to its 52-week high of 476 rupees. Revenue has seen a slight dip recently and profits have moderated a bit. But operating margins are still near 30% and the debt to equity ratio is just 0.13. Solid fundamentals. Now I know what some of you are thinking, but isn't coal dying? What about renewables? But here's the reality today. India still depends heavily on coal for its base load power. Renewable energy is growing, yes, but it's not yet reliable enough to handle the 24/7 demand that a country like India needs. Solar works in the day, wind depends on the weather, but coal works all the time. So power plants need a constant, reliable fuel supply every single day. And Coal India is right at the center of that need. That kind of structural demand doesn't disappear overnight. But yes, there are risks. Over time, clean energy will reduce coal's share. Policy changes can affect pricing. It's a real long-term headwind. Alright, now let's move on to stock number 7, Inox India. And this one is genuinely fascinating. You know what's hard? Building systems that handle gases at temperatures below negative 100 degrees Celsius. We're talking liquefied natural gas, oxygen, hydrogen, nitrogen, gases that need to be stored and transported in extremely precise conditions. That's what Inox India does. It builds cryogenic tanks and systems, basically the equipment that makes all of this possible safely. And here's the stat that surprised me the most during our research. Nearly 3 out of every 4 cryogenic tanks in India are supplied by Inox India. 3 out of 4. So the scale is huge. The stock is trading around 1,175 rupees, which is close to its 52-week high of 1,289 rupees. Revenue is growing at 25 to 30% year on year. Profits are rising strongly. Operating margins are holding in the 21 to 23% range, and the balance sheet is clean too. Debt to equity of 0.10, almost no debt, and order book sitting above 1400 crore of cash. This is a company with deep technical expertise in a niche that very few can enter. And as India expands in LNG, green hydrogen, and industrial gas infrastructure, Inox is right at the door of all of it. But yes, there are risks you need to watch. If the industries they supply to slow down, the demand for their equipment can dip. With that, let's move on to stock number 6, Vardhman Textiles. Textiles is a messy business, fragmented, dependent on raw material prices, and exposed to global demand swing. Most companies in this space are just one part of a long chain. But Vardhman is different. It controls the entire chain. It starts with raw cotton and goes all the way to finished fabric and garments. It is supplying large brands both in India and globally. The stock is near its 52-week high, around 524 rupees versus a high of 560 rupees. Sales are stable in the 2300 to 2500 crore range per quarter. Margins are around 11 to 13%. Profits have come under some pressure from higher costs, but debt to equity is just 0.15. The real investor inside here is control. When you control everything from cotton to cloth, you can manage your costs better. You can maintain quality, you can respond faster. You're not at the mercy of a supplier or a middleman. And Vardhman isn't just sitting still. The company has over 3,500 crore of planned capex already underway, expanding yarn capacity, adding fabric lines, investing in automation, and entering the performance textile segment. The risks here are also straightforward. Cotton prices can spike, global demand can stay uneven, and margins can stay under pressure for a while. With that, let's move on to stock number 5 on our list, Ather Energy. When you buy a smartphone, you're not just buying a device, right? You're buying into an ecosystem. Apps, services, software updates, everything. Ather is trying to do that with electric scooters. They make EVs, but they also build their own charging network, Ather Grid, across cities. And on top of that, they have built a software stack that users actually pay for. That means the business doesn't just earn when it sells a scooter, it earns from everything built around it. The stock is trading around 754 rupees, close to its 52-week high of 805 rupees. Total income is approaching 1000 crore rupees. Year-on-year growth is over 50%. Volumes are up 50%. Gross margins are around 25% and improving. And here's the number that really stood out to me. Over 90% of Ather customers are opting into software subscription stack. That's not just a product sale, that's a recurring revenue. That's retention. The company is adding features like pothole alerts, voice controls, and smart safety systems. Losses are still coming down, not going away. This is still a company on the path to profitability. It's not there yet. The risks are real too. Competition in EV is intense. Policy support can shift. Scaling profitability takes time. Now let's look at stock number 4 on our list, Hitachi Energy India. Think about where electricity is going right now. More data centers, more EVs, more renewable energy being added to the grid. All of it needs infrastructure to move that power efficiently. That's exactly where Hitachi Energy sits. They build transformers, substations, and grid systems, the equipment that keeps the electricity moving safely from one place to another. The stock is trading around 24,200 rupees, close to its 52-week high of 26,300 rupees. Revenue growth is at 25 to 30% year on year. Profits have grown nearly 90%, almost doubling. And the order book is sitting at close to 30,000 crore. That's a lot of future revenue already logged in. What's even more interesting is where these orders are coming from: data centers, renewable energy projects, industrial facilities, utility projects. The demand is coming from multiple directions all at once. But there are risks too. Raw material inflation can squeeze margins, project delays can affect revenue recognition, and any slowdown in the power sector hits directly. Okay, with that, we have now reached the top 3 on our list. Let's look at stock number 3, which is NTPC. If NTPC went offline, the country would feel it immediately. That's the position this company holds in electricity. NTPC produces electricity and supplies it across the country. Homes, factories, cities, it's basically the foundation of everything. The stock is trading around 371 rupees, close to its 52-week high of 394 rupees. Profits have grown around 5 to 6% year on year, which is steady, not flashy, but consistent. Now let's talk about the numbers that actually matter. NTPC has crossed 85,000 megawatt of installed capacity, and its total pipeline, that's the capacity under development and planned, has crossed 1,18,000 megawatt. That's the future already being built. It's also adding renewable energy capacity, solar and wind, a growing share of clean power while still maintaining the stable, always-on base load from coal plants. And here's a detail I find really smart. NTPC has been allocated around 5,000 megawatt per hour of battery storage capacity. That's the ability to store power and deploy it during peak demand. That makes the entire system more efficient. Now let's look at the risks. NTPC sells to state power utilities and payments can get delayed. Projects can take longer than expected, and as the energy mix shifts, regulatory changes can affect returns. Now let's move on to stock number 2 on our list, Lupin. Most pharma companies are in a constant battle. Generic drugs, pricing pressure, competition eating into margins every year. It's basically a grind. Lupin, on the other hand, has found a way to not play that game, or at least to play a smarter version of it. The company makes medicines used every day: diabetes treatment, heart care drugs, respiratory medicine, selling in India, the US, and other global markets. Doctors prescribe them, pharmacies stock them, patients depend on them. The stock is trading in the 2,300 to 2,400 range, close to its 52-week high. Revenue has grown around 24% year on year, and profits have jumped nearly 50 to 60%. The investor story here is about where and how Lupin competes. In the US, which is the most competitive pharma market in the world, Lupin has certain products where competition is limited for a period of time. That gives it better pricing and much stronger margins than most generics. At the same time, the company is moving into complex medicines, which is injectables, biosimilars, specialty drugs. These are harder to make, harder to get approved, and harder to copy. That creates a moat. And the pipeline looks strong too. They are building towards future opportunities in obesity and diabetes treatment, which are massive, fast-growing global markets. But there are risks to watch. Competition can arrive in key products and compress margins quickly. Regulatory approvals can delay growth plans. And dependence on a handful of big products always creates some vulnerability. And now, we are at the end of the list with stock number 1, CCL Products. I want you to think about the coffee you drank this morning, or the instant coffee in your office pantry, or the sachets on hotel room tables. There's a good chance the coffee inside was made by this company. CCL Products is the world's largest instant coffee manufacturer. But here's the brilliant part. It doesn't just sell its own brand, it manufactures coffee for global companies that then sell it under their own names. That makes CCL the company behind many of the brands that people consume every day without ever knowing it exists, and is also building its own branded business in India. The stock is trading close to its 52-week high. Revenue has grown 35 to 40% year on year. Profits have increased nearly 55 to 60%, and the company is actively reducing debt, which strengthens its overall financial position. Now, here's the business model detail I found interesting. CCL works on long-term contracts, and it follows a cost plus pricing system. That means even if coffee bean prices go up or down dramatically, the company's margins stay stable. The input cost is basically passed through to the client. so the business is protected from the biggest volatility risk in its own industry. At the same time, demand for instant coffee is growing, especially in emerging markets across Asia, Africa, and Latin America. That's a long runway. And add to that expanding capacity, a growing branded business in India, improving margins, and reducing debt. But yes, there are risks. Margins did see a small dip recently due to higher operating costs. And we should keep watching the next few quarters to confirm the growth story is holding up. Alright, now let's bring all of this together. We just looked at 10 companies that are still standing strong while the rest of the market is struggling. Power Grid and NTPC, essential infrastructure that never stops being needed. GE Shipping and Coal India, real world demand that doesn't pause for market sentiment. Inox India and Hitachi Energy, niche, high value businesses in the middle of India's energy transition. Vardhaman Textiles, operational control in a fragmented industry. Aether Energy, building an ecosystem, not just selling a product. Lupin, competing smarter in a tough global market. And CCL Products, a business model so well designed, it practically immunizes itself from volatility. The lesson here isn't complicated. In a falling market, survival isn't luck. It's about businesses with deep roots, real demand, smart management, and structural advantages that don't disappear when sentiment turns negative. That's what you're looking for as an investor. Now, here's my question for you. Which of these 10 surprised you the most? Drop it in the comments. We read all of them. If you found this useful, please like the video, share it with someone who needs to hear this, and subscribe so you catch the next one because we've got a lot more coming. See you in the next one.
Investments in securities market are subject to market risks. Read all the related documents carefully before investing.